Oh. Hello, everyone. This is Ross from Retro Dream Beam. I'm an eBay seller full time. I've been doing this with my fiance Netta for more than 3 years now. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. So I'm about to go into what we're shipping out today on Monday, but the post office is actually closed on Monday for a holiday, but we like to get ahead of the curve. So I went ahead and pulled everything. In the past, for these like extra holidays, sometimes we would wait for the very next day to pack up everything, and then usually disasters happen because then like I'll have an item in the storage unit that I can't find, and then it becomes like full on panic mode for 8 hours. So we're getting ahead of the curve. Overall, though, the weekend was just kind of like average, middle of the ground. It was a decent day, okay day, like average day on Friday. Saturday was like a disaster, like a bad day. And then Sunday was a really good day. And then we woke up into today, Monday, with like a little bit of sales. So overall, it was like average. We would like to, this is kind of like, yeah, our average for weekends, but like, I don't know, like 6 months or even before that, our weekends used to be a lot better. All right, lots of cool stuff to talk about. Got a lot of energy, so uh, buckle up and sit down. All right, so the first thing is this. This is a very old listing. We got this from like a thrift store. This is Thomas the Tank Engine. It's like a flashlight, and then also if you press this button, it moves and it actually does like a flip. Really interesting thing. Thomas the Tank Engine is like a pretty popular kids character. People like trains and stuff, so Thomas stuff and we always like take a look at. I know there's also been like diecast cars that we sold for a lot. So this one only sold for, let's see, sorry, I have a weird setup today, $8.72 plus shipping. Everything's gonna be plus shipping. So yeah, that was when we were like in a basement still. So it shows how far we've gotten. You know, it's always cool to sell these like older items, at least for us. All right. Next up is going to be this Terrific Trimmers. This is going to be like a rainbow scallop borders. This is for like bulletin boards or little decorations or like a little room or something. So I think you just either staple this on. I don't know if this is like a sticky one. Probably got this at a estate sale, a thrift store a long time ago. Sometimes at estate sales, we just kind of get like, you know, like a bulk purchase. We like to find the estate sale people that actually allow bulk purchases, and then we'll just kind of throw in interesting stuff. So I'm not sure if Annetta grabbed this, how old this one is. Not our usual thing, $6.20. So like I said, nothing too fancy. All right, moving along, they paid for all of these throughout different times throughout the weekend. So we got a bunch of 1 out of 72 scale. These are going to be the ones that they purchased for all, I believe, Civil War. Some of them are like partially painted, really kind of bad job. Well, it's okay. It's okay for like small miniatures. These are tiny ones. So they end up getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 packs right here. They were each $15 for the pack, so that's what, 60 plus 30, so $90. So crazy sale combo order. This is the stuff we like to do. We normally get it with the miniatures. They were super excited. They bought some from us before, like in last week, and they were always like messaging like, "Oh, hey, like need to wait for more money to get more." So super cool. People like to paint these up. They like to make little dioramas. They use them probably for some like board games or maybe just display little toy soldiers and stuff. We do like super well with that. Like I said, that was like a really good sale, and this person's been super nice. So $90 for that. So that's more in our realm. All right. Next up is going to be a brochure or like a travel map. Let me see. Sorry, I'm like semi prepared. When I have like we have 30 things we're going to talk about today. Oh, that counts like the 6 of those. So Illinois highway map, 1981 to 82. We like to get like paper ephemera and stuff. We haven't found any in a while. We normally get them from like some people that like flip storage units and they don't care about papers and stuff like that. So it's a thing that I didn't think of when we first started eBay. But then Annetta started picking up some stuff, and she told me to like list them, and then we were starting to sell them. I'm like, oh wow, people actually like collect this kind of stuff. So this was like a lesson learned for me, and now I love doing this type of the category, just ephemera. So anything from like menus. We sold a ripped receipt from like, I think it was like a Best Buy or something. It was like a known store, right? From like the 70s or 80s with some information still on it. People will buy crazy stuff. So it's cool that they collect it. So yeah, maybe they just want to see like what Illinois, like the highways looked like in this year. Maybe there's like a picture in there where someone's like in it or something. I remember there was one time someone bought a brochure and they're like, oh, I'm in that picture. So they bought it. $8.64. Some of those can go for more. It just really depends on. I got those at a thrift store. Well, a couple different places. That one was I went into a thrift store. They had a big box, and Annetta like worked up my courage. So she's like, "Go ask if you buy the whole thing." And I ended up talking to a manager, and I got the whole box for $20. My mind was blown. There was like over like 300 of them, so I was like super lucky. That was one of my like weird lucky thrift store moments where I didn't believe it, but it was thanks to Annetta to tell me to just go ask. All right. Moving along, we have this thing is really cool. These are going to be like without the box. Actually, it does have a box, but it doesn't have like its original container. These are going to be like some kind of Chinese dominoes. Like they're pretty good quality. I like to get like the foreign board games whenever I find them. There's a little rule sheet here. It's all written in Chinese. So I know people like playing mahjong and Chinese cards, different classic card games. That's what I was thinking of. So people like this stuff, and I like to pick up the unique ones where I haven't seen. So this ended up going for $25.92. It just looks cool for like a classic one. All right, moving along, we have this. This is going to be Game Science, which is a 1980s company. I got a bunch of these dice. Had to do a bunch of research like a month or so ago. They have these little numbers. They have like a precision. They have like sharp edges and stuff. So people get really into dice about, like how the odds or stuff, they want like casino dice are the most accurate. And then some people don't like I'll get to it in a moment, a little round edge dice because then it's too bouncy and stuff. People get really crazy into it and they collect all sorts of dice. These have little like numbers on them where you're supposed to either ink them or you put like a crayon in them or something. So then you can pick the contrasted colors. So this is a green one. So if you want to like green blue or maybe green red or green yellow, whatever color combination you can make them. These are things that people have told me. This has been my current thing where I get a bunch of messages about people. They basically get mad at my prices on stuff, and then but these things we keep selling. We've probably sold like $400 or $500 of these dice, but like people tell me that these are worth like $1 to $5, and we keep selling them for like 15 to 60. So it's once again for people that have been watching the channel enough, I just ignore any of that stuff because like it's hard to change the mind of someone who's making money for not having their mind changed, if that makes sense. So yeah, $15 for this one. It's cool. People like to collect this kind of stuff. All right, and use them for like their role-playing games. Moving along, we have this. This is also an interesting one. This is Mary Jane, like a blue. It's called, I forget the name of it. They were called Just the Right Shoe. Okay, so I believe we got these little ceramic shoe collectibles from someone for free, and I believe you buy the pair of shoes, and these particular, like when you get the real pair of shoes, you get like a little ceramic collectible, and people like to collect them. So this one ended up going for $7.19. We got like 60 or 70 of them for free. They've sold for different sorts of prices. People have done like combo orders from them. So just like another interesting little collectible thing. It's not like nerdy, but yeah, someone likes the little shoes and stuff. There was one time where like my pictures were really good where they thought I had listed a real shoe. So they're like, oh, what size is it? And I'm like, oh, well, I put the measurement picture in there. I'm like, I was like, it's not a real shoe. Like, please, I don't want to trick you because I just took like good close-up pictures of it. I remember that. All right, moving along, we have this right here. Sorry, I have my computer over here. Normally I have like a Netis phone. But I don't have access to it right now. We have this micro war game. This is Micro Colonial right here. This has all the like little bits and pieces. I like to get these like, it's just I put this in this little container right here. It doesn't have its box, but yeah, I like to get these little like war games and stuff. People like to play them. They'll have these little chit tokens. This one looks like it's like an older, I don't know if I put the year from it. No, I couldn't. It looks like maybe 60s, 70s, or 80s. So an older one. This ended up going for $15. All right, next up is going to be, this was actually a Christmas gift I got in like 2017 or 2018. These are going to be some sports gloves right here. They're still sealed. I got into, I'll occasionally get into working out, and then my hands, they get like ripped up and like shredded on just like the metal and stuff for dumbbells. So I eventually realized that I could wear gloves. So I started wearing gloves. It's like an on and off thing. Working out, I generally need like 8 to 10 hours in a week to like, do something. Right now I don't have the time. We're doing the eBay takes a bunch of time. Doing the YouTube channel, that takes a little bit more. All this stuff, everything you do just takes time. So it's just something that I like to do. And then I realized that these are sitting for a while. I was like, I'll just list them. I don't know when I'm going to get back to working out, but yeah, these end up going for $12. All right, they don't have to use them for working out. That's just what I was using them for. All right, moving along, we have a lot of 60 of these. These stumped me. I couldn't figure out what they were. These are going to be board game tokens right here. They're like a circular one with like a yellow bronze like shield. So I don't know what board game it was. If I had to take a guess, this looks like, just from the coloring and art style, maybe like a Fantasy Flight game from the mid 2000s. I think it's like 2008, around that era. That's about the best I could come up with. I couldn't figure out the game. Still listed them. Took pictures, did as many keywords as I could, took the measurements, said that there were 60 of them. Someone went and got them for $9.60. Normally these days I'm stubborn. I like to keep looking up until I figure out what they are. All right, moving along is something I got from auction. I got a Lord of the Rings little collection. It was a box. It was actually in like a box like this, not this exact one, but one of these BCW 1000 storage boxes. It was all Lord of the Rings stuff. There were decks. There were some packs. that were sealed. There were some open packs and a bunch of rares and stuff. And then I did bulk lots with the uncommons and uncommons. It's by Decipher. It's a dead card game, so it's not around anymore. This is EO. Oh my god, did I say his name wrong? Eomer. Sorry guys, it's been a while. From Return of the King sets. So yeah, like I said, they have a bunch of sets. I made a note that I spent $7 on this one. It was $75 for the whole thing. I divided up amongst all of like the sealed and like the decks and stuff. The singles I did not count, because if you have like 200 singles and then you spend $75, you can be like, I spent like 2 cents per thing, and I don't like to do that. To me, the singles are gonna be extra. This time I'm going for $20.79. So it's a cool one. It's always hard to bid on the Lord of the Rings stuff because people just like Lord of the Rings in general. They don't have to they don't care that it's a dead card game. They just want to geek out and look at all the cards. They have images from the movies and stuff, and they have like lore and stuff. So like people love that. I like Lord of the Rings too. All right. Even though I can't pronounce character names, I say them in my head. When I have to say them out loud, it's like, oh, I've never said this out loud before, if you know what I'm talking about. All right, next up is going to be a lot of 10 of these. These are going to be Dice Masters. These are the Battle for Faerun. So these are the Dungeons & Dragons ones. I'm not sure if these are co-op or if these are dueling, because in general, the Dice Masters by WizKids is normally like the Marvel. You'll have dice, and then their stats are represented by cards, and then there's rarities. These are booster packs, 2 cards, 2 dice. It was supposed to be $1. That was like their catch back in the day. They ended up having issues with supply when the game first came out. For the first few years, it was really hard to get stuff. It was super high technically on eBay back then. And then people eventually, when you can't get like starter decks and stuff, it's like, I think starter decks were supposed to be 15 when the game first came out, but then they end up selling for like 60 to 80, and that's just like a huge price jump. That was for starter decks, right? So packs and booster boxes for these, they come in like a big little cube. It was super expensive. So that's the only reason why I personally think the game's not around. Still a really cool one. People love dice, people love cards, so it's a combo of both of them. But yeah, they have a Dungeons and Dragons. They also have Ninja Turtles, Yu-Gi-Oh, Marvel, DC. I forget I know there's other ones. So 10 of these booster packs. I only got $11.99. I had another lot of 10, so I went ahead and listed 10. I should have done quantity. Actually, no, that's a whole nother thing. All right. I think I did lots of 10 because if I did quantity per one, I feel like I would have miscounted. And then sometimes these they'll like pop open. So I just wanted to like cover my bases, I think is why I originally listed them as lots of 10. All right, moving along. This I listed when I was doing live. So this was a cool one. I thought this was, at first, it took me a little bit to figure out what this was. This is SMB3 Brick by Brick. So this is Super Mario Brothers 3. This is a book where you can read about the whole layout of each level in the game. Super cool. I sat back and it kind of got my creative juices flowing. I'm like, that's a really cool idea. So there's no images in this book other than the front. So it's literally just someone's description of like the whole level in each level. I thought that was fascinating. Someone else did too. $12.99. I just listed that recently. All right, next up is going to be Critical Hit Advanced Squad Leader. This is going to be like a bunch of sheets right here, and then there's also going to be like some scenario sheets in there as well. So I believe Critical Hit was like either like a fan group or like some side stuff for Advanced Squad Leader, and then they would make like, different rules, different scenarios. See, like right here, you have all the little like scenario sheets. That's generally how these miniature games are. You pick a battle. This one. No, that was the name is a little ridiculous. Sure, whatever. Ball Breaker. It is Japan versus America. I'm pretty sure that there is an actual like historical battle. I'm assuming. I don't know if this is fiction for the Critical Hit stuff, but yeah, it tells you all the rules. So people like to collect all the scenarios, all the extras and stuff. I've never played the game. It is one I want someone to teach me. It's a pretty in-depth game. I like in-depth games. I can play anything from like a very basic game all the way up to like a crunchy game like Mage Knight from Vlad Schwatel and stuff like that. So, all right, $19.19 for a bunch of scenario and sheets. Lots of different stuff. Running out of breath. All right, move along. Star Wars Imperial Assault. These are going to be, it's all of like the rule books for the base game. So it's just like the rule book. It's going to have the scenario book. Oops. Ooh, that was bad. I put in a card there so it wouldn't get bent to the storage unit. I have more of these, so it would have been fine if I did get it bent. That was made me uncomfortable there. Generally, it actually takes a lot to bend a card. Sorry, no, it's a different topic. There's like, I think there's magic cards. If you bend them on the edges all the way to the tip and then you let it go, it should go back to normal. That's how you figure out if some cards are like fake and stuff. People have done that with Black Lotuses. It's actually, so cards are like relatively, if they're made of good like material and stuff, but the company printed well somewhere, they will not bend or rip. All right. This is going to be a game by Fantasy Flight. It's not around anymore. It has a bunch of expansions. They're can be expensive, I believe. I have the fantasy version of the game, Descent Journeys in the Dark. This is where someone gets to play a really cool game. It's kind of some people are co-op and then they're fighting like a overlord. In this game, it's going to be the Empire. Sorry, yeah, the Empire is the overlord, and then the rebels are the hero characters. There's going to be a whole campaign you play. There's going to be like 2 different acts, and then you're like building up experience scenarios and stuff. If you win one, depending on like who wins, it's going to choose the next scenario. Super in-depth game. So yeah, this ended up going for $17.44. Like the expansion stuff's pretty good. I think the base game is like 30 to 50 bucks. If you really want to play like a cool board game, there's a lot there, and you have a group of people to do it. It's even like 2 or 3 people. It's a good time. All right, next up, I don't know what to call this, so I called it a wraparound because like it was a weird bit and piece I got. So this is Napoleon at War 4 Battles. This right here is going to be a game by SPI. I think it's SPI. Yeah, SPI right up there. This is just like the intro sheet for the board game. So these board games are weird because they came with a tray where you would put all the tokens for like the war game, miniature game, all the chit tokens. And then it would have like a lid, and then you would put like, or this would go underneath the lid around it, and it would wrap around. So I asked Annette, I was like, is someone, do you think someone's going to get this? I listed it like a week or 2 ago. She's like, sure, just list it. You never know. So this ended up going for $14.39. I would have listed it either way. I just didn't know if I needed to like focus on it recently. All right, next up, I also listed these live. These are going to be 2 of the miniature-sized StarCraft original and then Brood War PC. It's like little strategy guide books. They would make these like little tiny ones. I think they have less stuff than the full-size ones, but yeah. People like StarCraft. These end up going for $10.39. I just slotted up the base game with the expansion. All right. Moving along, the card that I thought I meant is going to be a promo card. This is Albert Wesker. This is a foil promo card for the Resident Evil deck building game. There's 3 different promo cards for this one. I think I'm one of the only people or few people that have this card listed. I have a couple more, so I had another one, so I just relisted it. I don't do quantity on it because I don't want people to think it's like less rare, because sometimes with certain like listings, I just don't want to be like, I have 10,000, and then people are going to... That's when you start getting like low offers because they think you're going to want to get rid of them. So I do one at a time for these. This ended up going for $12.79. I've sold these between like 8 to 20, no, 8 to 15 or something. I would have to look at this. Good amount of money for a replenishable. But yeah, it's just like a special promo character. People like to accessorize their board games and get all the like they want to complete their game. Not everyone, but some people do. And it also adds like it's going to be like new content for them in the game. All right, next up is going to be this dinosaur toy. Annetta used to pick up a bunch of different like toys and stuff from like the baggies at thrift stores. We did pretty well with that stuff when we first started, like part-time. It's kind of what jump started us. She would just get like the cheapest baggies she could with stuff that she thought was good quality. People always like dinosaurs. She also likes dinosaurs. This is like some of her collection right here. I remember she used to bring home a bunch of stuff from like thrift stores when I was working my other job. And then I'd be like, okay, well, I need to work on some of the stuff. She'd be like, no, those are all mine. I'm like, you can't get all the dinosaurs. We're going to have like 10,000. She's like, I don't care. But she would always pick and choose the ones that she wanted. $7 for this one, but people do like them. Sometimes I'll do like lots and stuff. There's also like bugs, which I don't like bugs, but people like bugs and horses. Yeah, there's a lot of different like good like if you have like the good quality, good looking toys, people will pick them up. All right, moving along, we have Polyhedron. This is gonna be RPG magazines. There's 2 of them in here. We used to get like a couple of these before, so I don't know too much about them. They have like decent art, and they're gonna have like different articles about different stuff in there. So yeah, this is just probably like scraps from before I was recording on YouTube. We used to get like a bunch more nerdy magazines. Haven't found it in a while. We eventually will, I'm hoping. So those end up selling for $10.80. All right, next up, this was, let me make sure. Yeah, this was going to be a good chunky sale. Speaking of, we sold the critical hit thing, which is Advanced Squad Leader, which is just, there's like, I don't know, there's like 12 or 20 modules in each module, which are like, it's like a board game, like I said, where you pick like a battle, you have a scenario card and you play it. So these are going to be the boards. The boards are what you make scenarios with. They also fold out to be longer or shorter. And then usually the scenario sheet tells you what you need. The earlier numbers means they were in the earlier boxes. So like 1 through 3 is going to come in like the base game. And then like they go up from there. Also, they have black edges, or they're mounted on black or brown boards. I haven't found anyone to tell me the difference yet. I just have to spend time to look it up. A lot of the people that I know, or just a couple of people asked about Advanced Squad. They're like, it doesn't matter, but I feel like there has to be something different about the black or brown boards. These are numbers 1 through 8. So I'll do like, I'll combine these. People also can make their own scenarios with these. These are just the board games for the, like the boards for the board game. And they're little hexes right here. I think they're like an inch or something. So 1 through 8 sold for $50. I have a bunch of different lots, some individual, some combined. People like to pick them up. So $50 for that. All right, move along. We have this Warhammer 40K. This is an individual die. I didn't know if this would sell, but anytime I think that, I just list anyways, just to be curious to see what happens. So this is an Imperial, which is one of the factions. This is a scatter die. So there's going to be certain stuff where you like, you know, you'll shoot a blast, right? But it's not always going to go exactly where it goes because, you know, they're trying to mimic like, you know, some fun, excitement, randomness. So you roll this die and it shows like which way the arrow's going. And I think maybe the target is like, maybe it does actually get on the spot or maybe crit or something. Haven't played technically Warhammer 40K, but this individual die went for $5.99. Normally they come in like these like kits and something, depends on like what year. A lot of money in the Warhammer dice, just the individual one, $5.99. All right. Next up is going to be some War Machine. These are going to be Khador bits and pieces, heavy war jacks right here. These are going to be for Privateer Press, older game. They would have like these kits. You would be able to make like, you know, you get a heavy war jack would be like a big guy with maybe an axe, or you can maybe like customize like how they looked, and maybe they would have different abilities. And some people would magnetize them so then they could change it up from game to game, which was a lot of work for people to do that. These are just some bits and pieces. I believe Steamforged Games is, they have the license. One second, I almost had to sneeze. All right, I'm good. All right. Almost had one there. All right, so yeah, Steamforged Games is a company that bought the license to the War Machine and Hordes. It's going to be like a miniature game where you set out your army and you fight the other person's army. You're going to have like a warlord or Oracaster. You defeat them, you win. I think if you defeat a certain number of troops, you win. There's probably objectives to play like King of the Hill and stuff like that. But yeah, they're making like new stuff, so people always pick up bits and pieces and the actual miniatures and cards. I don't know if you can actually use the old stuff with the new stuff. I'm going to assume so, but this ended up going for $8.99. Someone's going to like customize their miniature, maybe change what type it is. All right, next up is going to be these are really cool. These I usually get at auction pretty cheap. People don't want to deal with them because they are cumbersome. You can tell that this thing is pretty, it's like, yeah, it's big, right? It's also, these are like, this is why these are Chessex miniature boxes. Sorry, I'm like already ahead of myself. These, if you have foam with them, they're going to sell for a lot more because that's the purpose of these. So this has the foam. I know this top part's a lid. You don't have to have a lid. This is the important part. This is what people carry the miniatures in so that you can go ahead and like, you know, paint their miniatures, put them here, and then they're not like in danger of like an animal knocking them down or themselves, or they can carry it to their store to play or their friend's house. And yeah, the foam is the important part. But even then, I've sold these boxes. There's different sizes. They do pretty well. This one was a really clean one. This was like kind of like the classic size. It had the classic little like the smaller miniature size for a couple inches. It wasn't like pretty good, $25. That's probably what I would expect for these. Really good, as you saw. It was hard for me to open. This thing is like good quality. So I technically need some from like my miniature board game stuff, but they keep selling. So I'd rather them go to someone that's going to use it immediately. All right, last item for the day. This is, what was this one again? It was like Midmark Torchbearer Gazetteer right here. This is going to be an RPG book. I always pick up like these interesting ones. This is like a Thor/Viking type of RPG book. So yeah, people like to read the lore of all these different RPG books. It doesn't have to just be Dungeons and Dragons. It doesn't have to be just Pathfinder. A lot of people like role-playing games. Sometimes they just like reading this stuff. There's a lot of like, I see a lot of people who are into this stuff. I haven't done too much role-playing game stuff. I did read one full book, the Dragon Age role-playing book. It took me like a month or so. Got really into reading it. So I was like, oh, I know why people like reading this stuff. Never played the Dragon Age role-playing game, but yeah, people do like reading them. They kind of have like a joke where they buy like 20 and then they get their birthday comes around. People know they like role-playing game books and they get another 50, and then holidays, Christmas comes by, they get another 50, and they're like, oh, I read 3, but they keep collecting them. So people like this kind of stuff. All right, they really do. $15 for that. All right, that's everything. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. If you'd like to help support us, take a look at our links down below. Have a good one.